last week, Bob Iger, the head of Disney, gave an interview with The Hollywood Reporter and said that he was pumping the brakes on Star Wars movies, the current generation. He wasn't going to have them come out as often as they used to come out. Back, I think, what was it, 2014 or 2012, when Kathleen Kennedy first took over, and that famous, Lucasfilm acquisition, they were going to do like one Star Wars movie a year. And they were doing that until Solo came out and tanked. Right after The Last Jedi, even though it made more than $1 billion, it had a huge drop-off and divided a lot of fans. And, there were rumblings that Lucasfilm was changing stuff. And, this one is true. Lucasfilm is changing in this regard. They're doing fewer movies. Now, the reason Bob Iger's saying he's doing this, at least publicly, is, he felt that a Star Wars movie a year was too much. It was diluting the brand, diluting audience interest. People were getting tired of Star Wars. They didn't want to see one movie a year. And in the case of The Last Jedi and Solo, they were like 5 months apart. And that was just too much. That's what he was saying publicly to the press. And that may be a factor, but I don't think that's why the Star Wars is in the situation it's in, with people, mad at it, and with, audience interest, dwindling, and with toy sales going down. It's basically because Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson messed up. They did a bad job with The Last Jedi, and Solo came out at a time when people were unhappy and wanted to send a message to Lucasfilm that they were unhappy and they just wanted to boycott this movie. There were multiple reasons why Solo failed, but I don't think too many Star Wars movies is the problem. But I do think that in light of all this, it is still a good thing if they're scaling back Star Wars movies, because if Bob Iger and other people, I know Bob Iger's, there's more going on with him and Lucasfilm than he's saying publicly. I think Bob Iger knows there's a problem and he's working to fix it. But I think that it's good for them to pump the brakes, because that means they need time to figure out what to do. I mean, he did say in the interview, and he was probably telling the truth, that they're just now starting to discuss, what to do after episode 9. And in that interview, he didn't mention Kathleen Kennedy or Rian Johnson, the two people who are most responsible, I think, for the trouble the Star Wars franchise is in right now. He mentioned J.J. Abrams, the director and I think the writer of episode 9, who also did The Force Awakens. I like The Force Awakens. I know there was a little bit of a backlash against it because it was basically a retread of A New Hope, but I still thought The Force Awakens was a good movie. And, it got me and everybody else excited for the future of Star Wars until Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy tanked it. And the other people that Bob Iger mentioned were Weiss and Benioff, the Game of Thrones guys who were hired, I think, by Kathleen Kennedy to do like a trilogy or to take over or just to do something else later on. And, they are proven, they like J.J. Abrams have proven themselves to be competent storytellers. I mean, Game of Thrones is a huge hit show, and, that's because of them and George R.R. Martin, but you know what I mean. And J.J. Abrams has a track record of doing successful movies and TV shows. He mentioned them, Bob Iger did. He didn't mention Kathleen Kennedy or Rian Johnson. I thought that omission was telling. And I hope that means he's getting rid of them. But regardless, in this regrouping, re-strategizing with what to do with Star Wars in the future, I do think that until they figure it out, they do need to do fewer Star Wars movies. I mean, it wouldn't be good to just pump out Star Wars movies, a bunch of them without knowing what you're going to do with them yet, or without knowing what the audience wants yet, without gauging that. I think once they figure out a direction, then, they can do a Star Wars movie a year. But, or maybe they should just stick with every other year. My point is, in the meantime, I think if you're trying to figure stuff out, it's time to slow things down. And I think that right now Star Wars slowing down is a good idea. I support, even though I love Star Wars and I would support multiple movies, a movie a year or multiple movies a year, I think I get where Bob Iger's coming from. But I don't think the reason he gave, that people are like tired or sick of Star Wars that much, if they can't handle so much Star Wars, I don't think that's accurate. And I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't actually believe that. That's just the reason he's giving to the public. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that the Star Wars slowdown is a good idea? And if so, why? I think that for right now, it's smart strategy. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.